Thanksgiving is not until later in this week, but on Monday afternoon, Pack basketball had a healthy helping of humble pie.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network, your team every day. Our Monday show is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. As always, terms apply. Happy Monday to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. This is a live show because it is technically a post-game podcast episode for you. NC State basketball, PU, they drop an absolute stinker to open up the Maui Invitational on Monday afternoon, an 85-74 loss to the Seton Hall Pirates. Now, Seton Hall, I did tell you all last week, they're a very physical team. They're not going to be pushed around very easily. And that was proven to be true. They bullied us for 40 minutes in this basketball game. We were out-rebounded, out-hustled, out-wanted too. They wanted this game more than we did, and that was evident from the very beginning of this game. So that's a big-time disappointment. Now, there's something more to be said about big picture here, but Kenton, just in the immediate, your takeaways from a pretty embarrassing 85-74 loss.
Well, I think that this was a loss that had a lot of one-offs. So I'm less concerned about this loss than I am certain other things or certain other, programs in NC State where you see things that are repetitive themes that are happening. I look at this loss and I say, have we been out-hustled? Have we seen teams want it more than us this year? No. We haven't seen games where it's like we were just a more talented team, and that's what let us get away with being the team that was not hustling, was not diving for loose balls, was not doing all the things that it takes to win ball games. I have not seen that this year. And then the other part of this deal is, there are a lot of things that I look at and I say, all right, Darian Williams held to about half of his normal scoring output during the season. Him being very passive is not something that I would get accustomed to out of this team either. Now, the one thing that I will say is has been a repetitive theme a little bit, is the lack of rim protection, particularly when Big Moose is off the court. It's like, if anybody gets blown by, that's it. Go ahead and reward them 2 points if they're willing to finish tough. That's pretty much my only concern that I have seen time in and time again. But other than that, I mean, if we play another team where we expect their guards, hey, everybody's got the key now. If you've got guards that are going to block 6 shots, you're going to beat NC State. Congratulations, everybody. That's the key. If that's the key, I think we're still good against 90% of teams in America. If you say, oh, that's what we need to happen there. So,
yeah, I mean, look, this game had a lot of intrigue for me in particular because of something I talk about a lot. This goes in football and baseball and women's basketball and everything. Early in the season, one of the most intriguing things for me, I want to find out what it looks like when you're playing away from home the first couple times. What happens when you have to face adversity on the road, or in this case, halfway around the world in Maui in a very small gym, and you're playing against a P4 team? What will that look like for us? Well, today it was extremely disappointing. We got absolutely pushed around. And the physicality in the paint was a massive difference in this one. Seton Hall had 40 points in the paint, as opposed to, I think, only just 26 for us. They blocked 9 shots. We blocked only 2. To Kenton's point, the rim protection for State today, it was bad. And Seton Hall got virtually anything they wanted in the interior. And I know that's a massive concern. I've seen a lot of people chatter about that so far. And some of the concerns we had in the offseason about this front court, can Val and can Musa be enough? Can Scotty Abube give you anything off of the bench? I think that's probably still our biggest question mark to date. What can the front court do on a consistent basis to protect yourselves against some bigger, more physical teams? The Big East, you're going to get a physical team 1 through however many teams are in the Big East. They're all going to try to out-physical you. And Seton Hall came into this game with a very strict game plan. They wanted to bully us on the inside. They want to force us into shots that we weren't comfortable taking. And they did an excellent job of forcing us to doing that. I mean, I want to give credit to Seton Hall. I think they came in with an excellent game plan. They stuck to it, and they beat us at our own game. So on that note, I think we looked a little unprepared in a sense, which is a shock to me. That truly shocked me today. I think, the way that Will Wade was talking about in a tournament like this one, sometimes the hardest game to win is that first one. On that note, I'm like, okay, well, hearing that makes me a little bit more confident because they're not going to let anything, come to pass. We let almost everything come to pass in this game. We're not good at the foul line, not good hunting our own shots, not good rebounding, not good defending. I've seen some unconfirmed rumors. I know Jay Billis kind of hinted at it on the broadcast that we might have some flu going around on the team. I don't need that. That's an excuse to me. That does nothing for me. Okay. They've been there for a couple days now. I know it's a 9 a.m. tip out there in Hawaii. You're a Division I basketball player. You should be able to play at 3 a.m. if you have to. I'm sorry. The excuses, that they don't do much for me. But I also want to talk about the other side about this. Don't freak out about this. Is it a bad loss? Yes, it is a bad loss. Is it embarrassing right now? Yes, it is embarrassing right now. NC State, with the roster we've constructed, the coaching staff, the metrics of both teams, we should probably win that game like a solid 8 out of 10 times. So perhaps today was one of those two, but we looked bad in doing so. So I think there's some concern, but if you're crashing out over one loss in November, then you didn't have 2 feet in to begin with. Essentially, you would have been waiting for a moment like this to be like, yep, knew it. We're fraud. I knew this wasn't going to work. I knew we're still NC State. You were waiting for that. So you weren't all the way in. I hate to break it to you. Maybe I'm the first one you'll hear this from. We were never going to go undefeated this year. Now, again, do we expect to lose to Seton Hall? No. And so that's why this stinks. But this team was going to be a continued work in progress. Newsflash, every team in the country is a continued work in progress in the month of November. No one, not one single team is playing the best version of basketball right now. Not NC State, not Kansas, not Houston, nobody. So it's going to be a continued work in progress. This team has a lot of things to get better at, defensively, offensively, on the glass, all of it. And they're going to keep doing that. So today, yeah, it sucks. There's no sugarcoating that. This loss sucks. This is a game that you should have won. But guess what? The season ain't over. It doesn't end on your first game in the Maui Invitational. So, yeah, I mean, just sorry, soapbox moment here, but this game, it stunk today, but there's so much more to play for. Don't crash out on November the 24th. We're not even to Thanksgiving yet. Don't even crash out on Thanksgiving, especially around your families. Save it. There's so much basketball left to play. Will Wade, at some point, he's going to turn this thing around.
I mean, Grayson, I don't know what there is to turn around per se. It's one bad game.
Exactly.
It's one bad game.
Yeah.
Again, we will talk about and we will get more into trends that we have seen that's like, hey, this is a thing that is a trend. But at the end of the day, we're talking about one game. Now, did Grayson not make it clear the expectation was to bring the trophy home from Maui? Yes.
Yes, that was the expectation, yes.
Are we both upset that that is not happening? Absolutely.
Yes.
But one game in, what are we doing here? What are we, when we talk about this team and what they are, everybody keeps talking about the rebounding. Everybody keeps talking about, oh, this was a small team. Well, have we been out-rebounded all year? Have teams been whooping us on the boards all year to where it's like, oh, my God, we just don't. This game was an anomaly. This game, not only were we out-rebounded, look at the fast break points difference. Like Grayson said, this was a team that looked like they wanted more. Every fast break, it looked like they wanted it. They wanted to get back and do what they had to do. On the other hand, with us, it was like, oh, yeah, we'll set up our offense. We'll get into what we need to get, and we'll make it happen from there. At the end of the day, we talk about what this team, when Grayson and I talked about what were the potential problems for this team coming into the season, Grayson and I both acknowledged rim protection was going to be one of those things that could potentially hurt us, especially if we did not get excellent play out of our guards in terms of cutting off, dribble drive, and penetration, which we have not gotten so far. So does that spell out problems for the future? Potentially. But also, it's okay. It's okay to have that and see that right now and to say we can get it addressed. It is a very different situation if we're in year 3 or 4 with Will Wade and we continuously get out rebounded by every team we play. It's a different thing if we're in year 4 or 5 with Will Wade and we continue to have smaller teams whooping us in a fast break and whooping us on the boards and whooping us in blocks. And it's like, all right, now, what's going on? We are in game 6 of year 1. Let's take a chill pill, everybody.
Now, I do want to talk a little bit about Darian Williams because he didn't really look like the Darian Williams of the first 4 games of the season. Looked a little bit passive, and I did find that to be a little bit surprising. So I'm kind of, I don't want to open a can of worms, but it's almost like, does this team really depend that much on Darian Williams to go out and get you, 18 to 20 points? I don't think that's something we have answered yet, but something we did see is no one else really, stood up and rose to the occasion. Matt Abel did. He gave you 16 points, 15. Van Lubin gave you 16 and 9. I need him a little bit tougher in the paint. I will say that. He smoked a couple layups in there. I need him to finish more consistently at the rim. But I will say this. On most nights, if Van Lubin is your leading scorer, things didn't go right. And so I think that's a perfect example of this. So you're going to need more out of everyone else. Trey Holloman gave you 11. Paul McNeil gave you 9. Quadir Copeland gave you 6. It just felt a bit disconjointed today. And I think Seton Hall, they had a good game plan for us. They executed it and kind of knocked us off our feet. They kind of took us off our stand. We didn't get to do what we wanted to do in this game. And so teams, guess what, folks? A lot of other teams are going to try and do that exact same thing. They're going to take this game film and work it into their own game plan. So NC State's got to find ways to overcome and adapt that moving forward. Coming up next, I do want to talk about our biggest concerns out of this game because I think there are a couple. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. Our first Monday sponsor is Wayfair. If I can find my banner. There it is. The holiday season is right around the corner. In fact, Thanksgiving is this week, and that means it's time to get your home ready to go. Whether you need more seating for guests, cozy new linens, or fun serveware for holiday hosting, Wayfair's Black Friday sale is here to help you make your space shine. And the best part, you don't have to wait. Wayfair's Black Friday deals are happening all month long with up to 70% off everything from sofas to spatulas. What do you like the most about Wayfair? Well, I'll just go ahead and tell you. The shipping is extremely fast. My girlfriend, she loves it. She can't get enough of Wayfair because everything will make it in time to you, just in time for the holidays. If you've ever hosted family for the holidays, you know how much of a difference a few new touches can make. Wayfair will make that easy for you. Don't miss out on early Black Friday deals. Head on over to wayfair.com right now to shop Wayfair's Black Friday sale up to 70% off. That's Wayfair, Wayfair, wayfair.com. The sale ends on December the 7th. Middle portion of our Monday show, our post-game Monday show. So, Kenton, let's talk concerns coming out of this game. And obviously, we're going to leave some meat on the bone. We still have 2 more games to play over the course of this week. We will play, I guess, the loser. Actually, I haven't looked at the bracket yet. We'll see. More than likely going to play either USC or Boise State. So we'll handle that when the time comes. But concerns out of this game. An 85-74 loss to Seton Hall, which they don't really have big projections this season in the Big East, but they're going to be tough regardless. What concerned you the most with the fashion in which NC State lost this game?
I'm always concerned about patterns as opposed to exceptions. An exception is allowed to happen. These are 18 and 22-year-olds, and even for grown men making grown men money in the NBA, they have games where they're a little off. However, things that are happening, and it seems like it's in perpetuity, that's what concerns me. The inability of our guards to stop dribble penetration and the inability of our bigs outside of Musa Sagnia to, to put some fear, to put the fear of the pack in guys' hearts at the rim. That's a major thing. Like, that's a thing that if that continues, I'm going to sit here and ask myself, well, wait a minute now. How are we supposed to win basketball game? Because you have other good guards coming up. Don't get me wrong. Seton Hall played a heck of a game. Their guards, they drove the lane more physically and with more determination than I've seen out of any other team that's played us all year. More power to them. Congrats to them. Great game. They earned that win. those are not the best guards we'll see all year. That is not the best
Not even
backcourt.
close.
That is not the best backcourt we will see all year. So it's not the most explosive. It's not the best finishing backcourt that we will see all year. So with that being said, these are problems that we have seen against Central and against, everybody that we've played so far. We've seen these problems arise. And so my question is, what is the answer? What is the solution? Is it more Bube minutes? Is it more, is it more of going with a Twin Towers look? What is the question there, or what is the answer there? Because at this point, that's kind of the book. That's kind of the game plan for, if you want to beat NC State, you got to know they're going to put up points, but you got to know you can get to the rim and you will have little to no resistance at the rim, because the guards aren't great at staying in front of folks and the bigs aren't doing much to send shots the other way.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback right on top of that. I was kind of shocked at how easily Seton Hall was able to get through the paint and get to the rim. And I think VCU at times kind of exposed that. UAB did a little bit in that first half of that game as well. And so, again, extending Kenton's point, what's going to happen when you have to play Auburn? Or what's going to happen when you have to play Kansas? Those teams are bigger, longer, more athletic than anyone we've seen so far. So I think that has to be the biggest concern up until this point. What are you going to do when teams will try to out-physical you? Because although Seton Hall was physical today, you're going to see teams that are even more physical than they were. And so I don't think we've seen a definitive answer for that yet. I know, Vin Lubin has given you some here and there, but nothing really consistently to show for. I think Musa's getting there. I think I like his physicality at times, but even today, he struggled to stay in front of folks, struggled to finish at the rim. Vin Lubin did as well. I don't really know how much of an answer Scotty Abube will or will not be. I think he tends to get himself into very quick foul trouble a lot of the time. Maybe that'll be useful in other parts of the year, but I don't know how much, help he would have been today. His size, I think, maybe just the size alone can provide an impact there in the paint. Maybe that's something worth looking into. But the guards today for NC State, they weren't good enough. Darian Williams, he wasn't good enough today. I heard a comment from, I believe it was Jay Billis. I think it was Jay Billis. No, it was Seth Greenberg, basically said that NC State paid Darian Williams to come here and win championships, and today he looked like a spectator. I mean, that's a little harsh, but I think he's on the money with that. Darian Williams was not Darian Williams today. And so when I kind of poked at that a couple minutes ago, how much of this team is going to have to rely on Darian Williams giving you 18 to 20 per night? If he can only give you 12, who else can stand up and take the rest of the way? I think that maybe is a potentially big question here moving forward. I thought, easy to say that when you play the cupcake teams. It's like, well, yeah, Paul McNeil can give you 18 on, 6 shots. It's not always going to be that easy. So I think today when you shoot 33% from deep, you're going to have to find other ways to score. You can launch a million threes, but if you're going to shoot 33% in a game, that can't be your only source of scoring. You're going to have to get to the lane, have to get to the rim, have to get to the foul line and convert when you get there. Missed, 6 foul shots today. Not the end of the world, but a lot of those were very timely in terms of momentum. So that certainly hurt. Something else that Will Wade talked about in the post game of VCU, he kind of heard some of the criticism about our 3-point defense. We're allowing teams to shoot at a pretty high rate, not exactly converting, but putting them up at a high rate. And he said, 85 to 90% of the shots that VCU took in that game were threes that we're allowing them to take. We're fine with those shots because it's by design. Although it looked like Seton Hall was setting the world on fire in that first half, they only shot 31% from 3. So I think that's something else to keep an eye on moving forward, because you're going to see teams that shoot it a lot better than Seton Hall does. And if you're allowing them to put up a pretty high volume of threes and they can hit those, you might find yourselves in a world of trouble moving on down the road. So certainly some concerns in this game. And I also say this a lot in the early portions of a year. Sometimes it's beneficial to expose your flaws. It sucks to lose this game. I don't want that to get lost anywhere in this. There's no sugarcoating it. It sucks to lose this game and not win this tournament. But if it's going to help you moving forward, when you have to see the Dirty Foot Club in February or Duke in early March, I'm much more concerned with those games later on down the road, because if you can expose your flaws now, attack them now, and figure out ways to connect them now, I can live with that. No one's gonna harp on the Maui Invitational if you're winning boatloads of ACC games in February. I can promise you that. So as disappointing as this is, we do have some concerns moving forward. But, let's talk about what did you like from this game? We're not all negative here. What did you like from this game, Kenton?
I mean, hey, my boy Matt Abel, he
Yes,
is
sir.
a human spark plug. Every time you put him in the game, he will turn the tide in your favor via something. And this game, it just happened to be scoring, which we've seen time and time again. This is a young man that he is going to do his job and his part, even if it's not on the scoreboard. Tonight, he was needed on the scoreboard, and he showed up in a major way. I am very excited. Excuse me. I am very excited about that. And also, I'm very excited about the amount of guys that were scoring. Even though Darian Williams did not give his normal output, to see Van Allen Lubin step up in the way that he did with the points, obviously, we would like to see him finish better. Obviously, we would like defensively for him to dissuade some of those. It shouldn't be come one, come all. We're good to if you meet Van Allen Lubin at the rim, that's an easy 2 points. We don't want that. Obviously, that part of things needs to get kind of lined up here. But how many times do we have to see that there are different guys that can get it done before we say, you know what, this is just kind of a feature of this team, that every night is going to be a different guy. Now, we would hope to pair those different guys with Darian Williams 20 every night, Darian Williams 25 every night. But realistically, if we can get Darian Williams to be back in that 18 to 20 area and have the rest of these guys do what they do, I'd love that every time.
Yeah, Matt Abel was certainly a bright spot for NC State in this game. The amount of composure he has as just a true freshman is kind of unbelievable. He looks so calm, so in control, outside of a couple costly turnovers, but we'll let that go for now. Well, we won't let that go. Turnovers need to be cleaned up because that's not just a Matt Abel problem. But Matt Abel, I thought in this game really helped us out, really kept us afloat in that first half. What does this game look like if Matt Abel doesn't give you, I think it was like 10 points there in the first half? It could have been a whole lot more ugly. So Matt Abel, I think, is a very interesting catalyst to this team. We've talked about his energy coming off the bench. You can instantly feel his impact when he comes into this game. This game was no different. You got to get more. You got to build off of that, though. Yeah, I need guys like Trey Holloman. Trey Holloman, he gives you some instant offense when he decides to get aggressive and attack the rim, but still, there has to be more of a facilitation from guys like Quadir Copeland, from Paul McNeil. We need to really get him cooking from downtown as well. Only hit 1 of 5 in this game. I was hoping the one he did splash would kind of, rally the boys, but it didn't exactly work out that way. So it's going to be a continued work in progress. I don't want to sound like a broken record, and I'm not making excuses because losing this game, it stings. I think I've said that enough times by now. It's like 19, so you get where I'm coming from. But this loss, it's something to build off of moving forward. Not coming home with the Maui Invitational tournament, it's going to sting a little bit. But like I said, I'd much rather get these problems right by the time February and March roll around than harp too much on it here in November. So don't crash out. Don't be saying crazy stuff on the internet. I've seen a lot of you do it. I've been bookmarking y'all, so be wary. I will bring that up if it comes up later on. So just ride the wave. Ride the highs, deal with the lows, stay right there in the middle. This team's going to get it right. We've built too much in a short amount of time for this to immediately blow up. It's not going down like that. So don't feed into the trolls. Don't let anybody else tell you what this team is or is not. Nobody knows what they are right now because guess why? It's still November. A lot of basketball left to be played. Let's talk about some football here in just a couple minutes. We're still kind of celebrating a 21-11 win. Weird game on Friday night, but we're going to talk about the lasting impacts from that game after a quick word from our sponsors. Our second Monday episode sponsor is Gametime. College football is nearly over, just 1 week left in the regular season, but it's a big one for NC State. If you're trying to get into Carter Finley this coming weekend, then you might need you some Gametime. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just simply nothing like it. But let's be real. Sometimes actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. There's endless queues, hidden fees, and prices jumping off at checkout. That's why you should use Gametime. It's the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. The easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with zero surprise fees. What you see is what you pay for. The app will make it super simple for you, and you can see a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy. You know exactly what to expect upon arrival. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets and college basketball tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And again, that's promo code Locked On College. LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College, for $20 off your first purchase. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. All right, switching gears here on our Monday show, post-game show, but now we're going to talk some football. NC State won one of the weirdest games of all the college football weekend. This game was on Friday night, of course, a 21-11 victory. DJ Bailey was good enough at the end of this game. The defense for NC State was good enough at the end of this game. The cojones of Dave Doeren were good enough at the end of this game. And one of the lasting impressions I got was just so refreshing to see NC State be aggressive, be the aggressor in a game like that one, making the fourth down calls, making the fourth down plays when they were called. I thought Will Wilson was a rock star in this game. He has been up until this point, and I am pleased. And I know Florida State's got their own circus going on. That's not our problem. Our problem is winning games, and we did that on Friday night. Bowl eligible. I'm proud of this team for fighting through the adversity that's been everywhere. We've talked a lot about it, but they got the job done on Friday. Kenton, what impressed you the most on that Friday night win?
Our secondary, and it's not close.
I have to agree, yeah.
I mean, Devin Marshall was the story of the night, but it wasn't just him. Assad Brown played one of his best games of the season. For the most part, our safeties weren't looking at the back of receivers' heads either. It seemed like this was a night where everything that DJ Elliott likes to do came together. It was about keeping everything in front of you, blitz all night, and say, you know what? If you're going to make that big play, you're going to make that big play under duress. You're going to make that big play in the midst of fire. And if you can make it, we'll tip our cap and we'll go from there. But everything seemed to work out. The defensive backfield played a hell of a game outside of Marshall, but especially Marshall. I mean, what a fantastic game from him. To me, the story of the night has to be that, because if you get that defensive back play for the last two games of the season, I don't see how we lose those football games. I don't. You got the Dirty Foot Club coming up, and then the bowl game. I don't know who we're getting, but I mean, we'll be a 7-5 ACC team.
Yeah.
How, you know what I mean? And that's if you beat the Dirty Foot Club, which, you know, we made a practice of doing that as well.
Asterisk.
But
Asterisk, yeah.
If you do that, you'll be a 7-5 ACC team. You'll have a good shot at whoever you play there as well. So the secondary play, that was, and you know I like to harp on the difference between exceptions and the rule. That was an exception. That was an exception for our defensive backfield. I would love to see them turn it into the rule, however.
Devon Marshall was absolutely incredible. In fact, it's only aging better the more time passes. I saw all the major publications really highlighting that performance. I think he officially ended with like 6 PBUs. He had those 2 interceptions, just game-changing plays. And mind you, this comes against Deuce Robinson, who's been arguably the best single receiver in the ACC for the entire conference this year. So there's something to be said for that as well. Cannot give him enough praise for this game. I know the NFL scouts, of which there were many in that press box, they certainly had their eyes on number 6 in the red and white. So shout out to Devon Marshall. Special teams, too. I can't get past Hayden Noonkester recovering his own punt. What a moment. Just like the truest form of like a sickos committee play, to see Caden Noonkester hustling back to the line of scrimmage to grab that football and give us a shot to try and plunge the dagger a second time.
Yeah.
But then we have to punt again, and then that one gets muffed as well. Just a nightmare couple minutes. Actually, it was like a minute and a half of actual game time for Florida State. We've talked a lot about special teams this year for NC State. At the beginning of the year, it was horrendous. And you could argue it may have cost us, or at least a large portion of chance against that Duke team. They weren't great in several other opportunities as well. Special teams not being the thorn in our side, but actually a massive bonus, maybe not because of our own doing, but because Florida State made it that way. Just it was, again, refreshing to see NC State being on the beneficial side of substantial mistakes like that one. We didn't kill ourselves in the end of that game. And something that Doran's really been talking a lot in the media about lately is this team, they don't quit. Everyone thinks we quit. Everyone wants to call us this, call us that. But I can assure you this team doesn't quit. The two of us have been very critical about this. I mean, I think in the Virginia Tech game, I probably said they quit a couple times because, well, I think they did. But credit to this team for rallying around each other, rallying in that locker room. There's still a lot of belief in CJ together. Guys like Justin Jolie, he's been a force of this offense. He catches the game winner on 4th and 6. A guy like that, he's earned moments like that, fighting through injury a couple weeks back, coming back and catching a game winner just a few weeks after. Incredible moments for this team. And I know 6-6 or 7-5, everybody's like, I mean, yeah, but okay. Another bowl, great. Where are we going? Gasparilla Bowl. Hooray. Just live in that moment, please. Just live in that moment. The offseason will take care of itself. Coaching changes or no coaching changes will handle itself. You got to appreciate these special moments when you get them, like beating Georgia Tech, who was undefeated at the time, which, by the way, did I tell you that Pitt was going to beat Georgia Tech, or did I never mind.
You did.
Just live in those moments. We only get so many home games per year. Our last one of the season is coming up this weekend against the Dirty Foot Club, against Bill Belichick. They did a whole lot of talking this last offseason, didn't they? And now they got to actually see us live and in person in Carter Finley Stadium. It's going to be a wild environment. So for NC State, for Wolfpack Nation, just be present in that moment. For 60 minutes on Saturday night, just be present in that moment. Handle the rest later. Just be there. Show up for this NC State team for one more home game. We'll handle the rest when it comes. But proud of these guys for fighting and winning this game on Friday night, becoming bowl eligible. They've earned, at the very least, they have earned that.
And you know what? You talk about the special teams getting lucky or being the beneficiary of Florida State's bad play. Here's the thing. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. That's all that is.
That's a bar right there.
That's all that is, right? You could say, well, the first punt that hit a guy's helmet and rolled all the way back, there's nothing you could do. That's a 1 in a billion thing that you had nothing to do with. Okay, sure. But then Florida State forces another punt, and then you muff that one too. And how do we get that? Because guys were on the spot, Johnny on the spot, ready when the ball pops out. Oh, well, what did you do to make Florida State miss 2 kicks? It's not about whether or not Florida State was going to make the 2 kicks or miss the 2 kicks. It's about the fact that we forced field goals against one of the more explosive offenses in America. So you look at that and you say, you know what? Things did go your way because you created the opportunity. You created the moment for those breaks to be had. You created a moment where, you go for it on 4th and 6 and you make that work out. You created the moment, or you took advantage of the moment, because you could create that moment and then call a draw play on 4th and 6. And then what'd you get?
Exactly.
Right. You just pissed down your leg. You just did nothing. You just did a nothing burger, but instead, they pressed the issue and they made it work. So, this is it.
Yeah. So a 21-11 victory over Florida State. I keep in mind exactly what Kent had said there. This is an offense that lives on explosive. They've hurt some major. They beat Alabama. Like, don't let that slide by the wayside either. They've won some games using explosive plays. They have some of the most explosive players in the ACC, and they were ineffective against NC State, against this very same defense that gave up 2 billion points to Pitt and to Notre Dame, holding Florida State to just 11, and they were a colossal failure of an offense, even though they outgained us, which is pretty crazy in itself. NC State, they bent, but they did not break. They won the game. They're moving on to bowl season. That's enough for right now. Just, again, stay in that moment for right now. That's fine for right now. Is it where we want to be moving forward? Of course not. We want more. We want to win more consistently, and build a program. Handle that in the days to come. So, again, shout out to the NC State Wolfpack football team winning that game on Friday. You got one more. You got one more business to stand on this coming Saturday. So, looking forward to Wolfpack Nation showing out as they always do Saturday night in the Carter. That will do it for us here on Monday. Of course, the basketball team will stay busy throughout the remainder of this week. They will play again tomorrow against, I guess, the loser of Boise State and USC. I know that game is very tight right now. So be sure to get off here and go lock in the end of that basketball game, maybe get a little feel of what to expect for tomorrow. But an embarrassing loss for Will Wade and the bunch. I'll tell you something else. It won't be the last one, because guess what? That's how sports work. You're going to lose games. We're never going undefeated. All right, I'm off the soapbox. Tough loss. We move forward, upward and onward. That'll do it for us here on Monday. As always, hit that like button. Drop your comments in the comment box. Mash that subscribe button if you have not already. We'll catch you right back here tomorrow on Tuesday for more. And until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.